Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. The second iteration of Eddie Hearn's fight camp is throwing up 3 heavyweight fights, which all feature on the Week 2 card, which is Saturday, August the 7th. So Fabio Wardley, he is going to be fighting against TBA at this point. Alen Babic, he will be returning against Mark Bennett. And Johnny Fisher, who is currently, 2-0, he will be facing Josh Sandland. So I guess we'll start at the top. We've got, a couple of months until this card, so there is time for Fabio Wardley to get a halfway decent opponent, but my view, it's always a little bit, sort of a red flag when they announce the card and there's not the opponent, because that drives up prices for prospective guys. So Wardley, there's saying here that he's going to have a step-up fight following his fight with Eric Molina. Well, let's hope so, because the Molina fight, he looked okay, but there was a lot of sort of admiring his own work, sort of playing with his food to some extent, and he ended up getting clipped and hurt, although he was obviously fronting after the fight saying he wasn't really that hurt. But it would be good to see Wardley go in there, put on an effort where he goes in and dominates an opponent at a certain level. We've seen him against some of the lower tier fodder, and Molina, he's pretty washed at this point, so that's no real indication of where he's really at. There had been a bit of hope from fans that perhaps Fabio Wardley would face a guy like Nick Webb, defend his English heavyweight title against him. Maybe we'll get that, I don't know, but it would be good to see him in with someone at a certain level that he can actually get something out of it. The Molina fight, it went some rounds, but that was because Wardley let it go some rounds and didn't really put it on Eric Molina in different spots in different rounds, because he was sitting back admiring his own work. So hopefully a good fight to come for Fabio Wardley, but a slight red flag there that it's announced and still TBA. Would have been better to have something locked in my opinion. But these other 2 fights, I actually think they're quite interesting. So Alen Babic, who's currently 7-0, he's just wiped out Damian Chambers in a few rounds. He will be facing Mark Bennett. So Mark Bennett, he actually appeared on the Ultimate Boxer, the last heavyweight edition. That was the back end of 2019. He actually fought quite well, fought all the way to the final and ultimately lost against Nick Webb, but he looked pretty decent in there, so I don't actually mind this. He's got some legit size. Record at the moment of 7-1, that one loss coming to Nick Webb. But I think this, for right now, for Alen Babic, for 7-0, it's not too bad. We've been saying he needs to face a guy who's an actual heavyweight, because some of these opponents for Babic have either been former cruiserweights or, they have literally still been fighting at cruiserweight. So Bennett is a big lump, former rugby player, former soldier as well. He looked decent in the Ultimate Boxer, but that sort of was at a certain level of competition, and when he came up against Webb, he was outclassed. But I don't mind this fight for Alen Babic at the stage at 7-0. Hopefully they start to step him through those rungs, and eventually his whole shtick of, basically, letting his hands fly for 3 rounds and trying to, blast someone out of there, he'll come up against someone that won't work against. Is that Bennett? Not so sure, but I think in terms of a guy who's got some size, a bit of power, Bennett certainly fits that bill, and Babic can get something out of that. And the other heavyweight fight on that Week 2 card, you have the Romford heavyweight Johnny Fisher. So he will be facing Josh Sandland. And actually Sandland, like Bennett, fought on that last edition of the Ultimate Boxer. So yeah, when I saw those names, I was like, this is like some sort of Ultimate Boxer reunion. But Sandland, a record of 5-3-1. I don't, recall too many standout moments from his, Ultimate Boxer experience. But yeah, I think at this stage, Johnny Fisher, he's 2-0. Sandland's got a winning record. He's a big lump. I think he can go in there and at least provide a little bit of resistance for, a short period of time. Maybe this will be something where he'll get some fists flying back at him, because Fisher does need that while he's coming up. So I don't mind this matchmaking, considering he's 2-0. It's probably a bit tougher than some other, prospects at a relative stage have been through. So yeah, Fisher versus Sandland. You've got Alen Babic versus Mark Bennett, and then Fabio Wardley versus the dreaded TBA undefeated. So we'll see what they sort of throw up there for Fabio Wardley. But Fight Camp, I was maybe expecting one or two bigger heavyweight names would feature, but I guess in looking across the different cards, there's a certain amount that I think that they're keeping costs down too for some of this. There's some good in terms of domestically in the UK, some, okay domestic level guys, and, then you have the headliners, which are slightly tick above that, where that's where most of the money for those cards will be going. But none of the other matchroom heavyweights that would be a bit more expensive featuring on that card. I was thinking, will you get a Hughie Fury? Will you get a Martin Bacoli? There are some other names also floating around that could have featured, but apparently not. But what do you make of this? 3 heavyweight fights week 2. Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.